Hey guys, welcome back to the Sholty family homestead. Today we're making dishwasher pods and it's so simple, and I just want to kind of walk you through how to do it and my thoughts on it. I was skeptical first making them because your dishwasher, it's your dishes, it's what you eat off of, and you want things to be clean. You're always buying top dollar cleaners at the store. So we had to end up doing, because if you go low key, then sometimes you get the spots, they don't clean that well. So we were spending, I don't know, probably $15 a week maybe on different dishwasher products like rinse aids, cleaners, boosters, stuff like that. So after trying these, it was kind of a, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, no big deal. Now we buy everything in bulk because this is all we use. We don't buy things from the store anymore, except for maybe a rinse aid every now and then, and that's it. Only ingredients for making dishwasher pods is like a blue dish soap. Ours is like a platinum, but it's whatever blue soap got. Citric acid and baking soda. That's it. Super simple. The single batch of what I make these, I get anywhere from 12 to 21 pods, depends on the silicone mold that I use. This one I have a 24 spot silicone mold. I've used 12s. That makes them a little bit bigger. This is just a size that works for us. We usually just use one pod per dishwasher load, and let's get started. First thing I'm going to do, tool wise, I just have your basic measuring cups. I have 1 cup for the baking soda. I have 1/3 of a cup for the citric acid. The original recipe that I had used only used 1/4 cup of citric acid. We found that 1/3 of a cup works for us, so you can kind of play around with the different ingredients as it fits your needs. And then I just have your regular tablespoon that I'll be using for the dish soap. So as far as actually making them, all it is a cup of baking soda, which I just sifted into the bowl. It took a really long time, so that's why you don't see that part. Just because we buy it in bulk, it just tends to clump together. But just a cup of baking soda, and I strained it or sifted it. And then we use 1/3 of a cup of citric acid. The original recipe called for 1/4 cup, but we find that 1/3 of a cup works a little bit better for us. So when you're making it for the first time, start with 1/4 cup, and then you can always just adjust it as needed. So baking soda, the citric acid, and then just 2 tablespoons of the blue dish soap. And it's that simple. The only reason that this is a little time consuming is because it tends to poof up when you put it into the silicone mold, so you just have to pat it down a little bit. I find it kind of relaxing. So just make sure you have maybe 10 minutes or so to commit to patting them down, otherwise they'll just cloud up. Sometimes I also stir it, and I'll let it sit for a minute, and I'll kind of stir it again. But I just mix until everything's kind of brought together. We're not making biscuits, you can stir it. Just kind of like a fluffy cloud. But until the citric acid and baking soda kind of stop getting grainy, it'll all just kind of come together. And this is usually where I'll let it sit for a second. I'll make sure that I have my mold all ready to go, and then I'll stir it again just to kind of get it down, because it just expands. I find the more I kind of keep stirring it in the bowl, the less patting down I have to do in the silicone mold. But then once you kind of have it mixed and patted down just a little bit, then I just take a spoon and push it into the mold. I try not to overfill it just because it does tend to get pretty big. So I'm going to keep this going, and I go back. If I notice that one's just poofing up a little bit more than I care to pat down, I just kind of scrape it into the next one. So as you can see, out of this batch I got 22. I'm just kind of pushing them down as I need to. Once they start drying a little bit on the top, and they won't puff up near as bad, I find the more I stir it in the bowl, the less that I have to do this. But these will make great gifts for Christmas time or birthdays. If somebody you know buys a new house, housewarming gift. But they're just simple to make. And then I just push them all down. But again, something so simple: baking soda, citric acid, and some dish soap, and you can run them in your dishwasher. A little TV magic for you. I usually let these sit overnight. If I try to pop them out too soon, then they just kind of break and crumble because they're just not dry and set up enough. This was from the last batch I made. I just keep them in a airtight container, and we haven't had any issues. But they're light, they're airy, and we just throw one of these in our dishwasher, and they'll just kind of stay uniform. The mold makes them really easy to pop out, and that's kind of all we do. I find the airtight container works best. We just keep it right underneath the sink. These are already feeling a little bit dry on the top, so usually after that starts, then they don't puff up as bad. The first few times we made them took some trial and error. One of my flops, I got tired of pushing them down, so I just put a piece of wax paper on the top, and I put a heavy book on it, and it didn't help with it puffing up at all. It just pushed everything out. I had to break them all apart. I had more pieces of the mold than I did the actual squares, so I learned to just be patient and to press them down. It just feels like a fluffy cloud. I'm sure you could get your kids involved. Mine would just play the entire time, so that's why they don't help me with these yet, but I know soon they will. So we just keep pushing them down. The more you press them, the less they'll rise up, and the more you can step aside, and then once the tops kind of get dry, then they don't so much raise up. And even if they do, it's fine. It's not going to hurt them. I just try keeping them in little squares. But that's about all I do. If I notice one just won't keep, I just press it down even harder. Just keeps them compact, and I just wash my hands, and once they're dry, then I can put them back into the airtight container. Thank you so much for watching. We will have links to all these items of what we use in the description, and also the recipe, and also noted again, the recipe calls for a 1/4 cup citric acid. You saw me put in 1/3 of a cup, so you can adjust as you need to for your needs. And if you want to take a peek of how to put it into the dishwasher, I'll take one that I've already made. We just find that one works for us. We do usually rinse our dishes pretty well, But you just take the dishwasher pad, and I just throw it all the way on the bottom. But typically, you know, usually you'd put your stuff over in the door or wherever you have to load it. We just toss it right on the bottom. And then we start our dishwasher as normal. And then we put our dryer block on, because otherwise who knows how many times these dishes could be ran. But thank you for joining in with us. We hope that you hit that subscribe button. You can ring that bell to get notifications when a new video comes out. And I hope to see you again in another video. If there's any questions or comments, please feel free. We love reading and hearing about all of our fans that are watching with us, and we hope that you'll join us in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye. Hey guys, thanks for welcoming